Okay, application procedures. This is part one of two videos. This is where we really get down to the nitty-gritty of how to apply for the program. And this gets, sadly, a little bit complicated because we really have kind of two avenues of admission, so to speak, where we have some parts of the application process found on our website and some parts of our application, most of the parts of the application process found through a central application area. I'll talk about all those things in just a minute. First off, I want to talk terminology. Whenever I use the word portfolio, that simply refers to all the stuff you have to do to submit a completed application. And here's a real quick little summary. First, you have to complete the following steps, steps 1 through 11, and we'll go through them all, and allow a few days for processing after you complete these steps. Then contact me by email once you've done steps 1 through 11. Contact me by email, please. And I've got my email address there, and request a follow-up visit where we'll talk about your clinical site visit and application process and points and all that stuff in more detail. And I'll talk a little bit about more about follow-up visit and clinical site visit as we go through this application process. All will be revealed in just a minute. So the first thing we see here is review the orientation videos, which you're doing obviously right now. And it says here that steps 1 and 3 are actually not found in our centralized online application area. I'll talk about that centralized area in just a minute, but are required by all applicants, even though they're not in our centralized area. Steps 4 through 11 are found in the online centralized application process, but are also listed in this document as we scroll further on down for those distance applicants that are not yet required to submit an online application. In such a case, the applicant will complete steps 4 through 11 using paper documentation. Okay, so as you've noticed, I'm already kind of wandering off into these people do this and those other people do that. Well, we've got a centralized application area online for all of our allied health programs, and we've got 17 different health science programs, not including nursing, at Amarillo College, which actually makes us the largest health science program in the state of Texas, really. And because we've got so many programs with so many different application procedures and stuff, our dean kind of thought it would be a great idea to kind of just have a centralized area where somebody could apply once, basically, and that information can go to all the different programs in case they want to apply for multiple programs. So the centralized application area has advantages and disadvantages. And we'll get to where that centralized application area is in just a minute, but the advantages are, well, local area applicants can now easily apply to multiple healthcare programs. That's great, that's wonderful, but the disadvantage is that this process, well, at least seemingly, requires everyone, including people living far, far away, to apply for Amarillo College, entrance into the college itself, not just radiation therapy, but the college, before making an application to the radiation therapy program itself. As a result of this disadvantage, while local area applicants must complete the centralized digital application process, including applying to Amarillo College right away, applicants planning on being distant students, that is, living outside of the Texas Panhandle, may actually complete a paper application if they choose, with the understanding that if they are formally accepted into the program, they will have to go through the centralized digital application process to apply for the college and upload other required documents. Now, I've been able to kind of fudge the process just a little bit, so here's my kind of bottom line for now. If you're living within a 50-mile radius, that's 50-mile radius of Amarillo, then you have to apply through our centralized online application area, digital only. I'm sorry, I can't get around that. I just have no way to get around that. However, if you live more than 50 miles away from Amarillo, like if you live in Lubbock or another state or whatever, then you can submit, at this time anyway, a paper application using all the instructions and forms that are kind of going to be described through this process. But I gotta say, actually applying to Amarillo College isn't that complicated of a process, on appearance anyway. So I really recommend that everybody just go ahead and do that anyway. But I'm not requiring that, at least at this time, of people that are going to be living further away. But do keep in mind, no matter where you live, if you're accepted into the program, you will have to go through this online process anyway. Okay, let me give you your first keyword for this section. The first keyword is the word waiver, W-A-I-V-E-R. Now, one thing to note, first thing to note anyway, through the application process is the applicant must be at least 18 years of age on or before the first day of class of any radiation therapy curriculum class. So got that out of the way. Now let's talk through a couple of things here before we actually look at the online process. Most of what I'm going to be talking about is going through the online process, but it's described in this paper form as well. I just want you to see what it's going to look like as you go through the online application process. But again, these first couple of steps, many of them are not involved in the online process. So the first thing I want you to do, first thing you need to do to apply for a program is complete the program interest form, and it basically just gives me basic information about you and that your interest in radiation therapy at Amarillo College. And there's a website there to show you where you can find that form and just download it and you can submit it. Now it may come to pass that in spite of what I've been saying for the past few minutes, it may come to pass that I have to require everyone to apply through the online process. If that's the case, if that comes to pass, then I'll respond to your program interest form and let you know that that's the way you need to apply. So go ahead and do this first off before you do anything else, no matter what your level of interest is for our program. Fill out the program interest form, send it to me, wait for my reply. I'll either, if nothing else, I'll just say, hey, thanks for sending me the form. I can't wait to hear more from you. But if there's any other information that is changed with respect to our admissions process or application process, I'll relate that information to you in my reply to your program interest form. So the next thing is, I'm going to kind of skip this for just a second, go to number 3. Number 3 is computer requirements. Now we've already kind of gone over the hardware and software requirements for our program. This is something different. This is testing basically or assessing your ability or aptitude towards taking online classes. Since we're 100% online or going to 100% online curriculum, online learning is really very, very different than traditional face-to-face classes. So we want to make sure that you're up to snuff with respect to online learning. There are some exemptions to this next thing we're going to be talking about. It's called Smarter Measure. And if you've had if you've completed previous online courses and can document that or can in some way document computer skills, adequate computer skills, contact me if you feel like you might qualify for an exemption for this rule. The reason you might want an exemption is this costs you money out of pocket. Sad to say, it's $29.99 to complete this assessment. But this is a really, really good way to assess your aptitude and probable success in going through an online program. It gives all kinds of great information about various aspects of computer skills, and even talking about or assessing your initiative and attitude and whether or not this is really meant for you. So kind of read through all this stuff. It goes on and on and on, and determine whether or not you might seek an exemption for this process. But it's a really good process and I really recommend it. It's a really good way to assess your abilities and probable abilities and success in an online program. So unless you can get an exemption, kind of go through all this, read through all this. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you'll send the results to me and we'll be discussing these results. Okay, back up to number 2 here. This is a website you probably want to bookmark because this is our centralized application area. So we'll check this out. So if we click onto that website, here's where we go. This is the centralized application area for all healthcare programs at Amarillo College. So bookmark this page so you have it handy. Now as we kind of go through some of this here, this will highlight. This takes you to a link that gets you ready for our application for Amarillo College. So this is where you apply for Amarillo College. If you click on this, you get to this website here. And it's pretty simple, really. You can either apply through an online form or download an application. If you apply using the online form, it takes you to a site that looks like this. And actually, if you've applied to other colleges and universities in Texas, you've probably already done this, and you can just kind of add this to an already pre-existing profile. But you just kind of fill all this stuff in, and it takes you to different areas. You don't need essays for Amarillo College, but you can address your transcripts and stuff through this area. Now if you want to download an application, then you can click onto the download, and you can either download a paper application or a PDF. And here's the PDF. Here's what it looks like. It's 2 pages long, and it's pretty standard information. You just kind of print this and fill it out and mail it. So it's not terribly taxing, really. It's not a terribly long process. So it shouldn't take you, it shouldn't be too terribly painful for you at any rate. So once we get back to the main web page area, the rest of this is not links. It's really just previews of coming attractions of things that you're going to need to provide, basically. So you're going to need to have the application, this talks you through the application process. You're going to need transcripts. And as you apply to Amarillo College, it talks you through how to submit the transcripts. If you're making a paper submission for now, then really you just need to submit your transcripts to me. But I want to take a second here to mention and emphasize, if you are submitting a paper application, then I need everything, every paper document, to be sent in one single manila envelope all at the same time, including transcripts. And transcripts need to be official transcripts in a sealed envelope from the college or university, included with all of your other documentation. So that's real important that everything be submitted at one time, not piecemeal, not send me transcripts here and then send me a couple of forms there. Everything all at one time. That's really, really important.